Hello, Raleigh. How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. So, Raleigh, we're going to talk to you today about your sports business career pathway. In advance of that, just some more background on Sports Biz Camps. We're a sports business 101 for high school students. And we're kind of adjusting and calling an audible, if you will, using some sports analogies. Typically, our programs are delivered in person, but we're interviewing wonderful people like Raleigh about her career path virtually. So very excited to have Raleigh and we're going to kind of talk through her career path. Just some more background on Sports Biz Camps. We're a sports business 101 for high school students. And we're kind of adjusting and calling an audible, if you will, using some sports analogies. Typically, our programs are delivered in person, but we're interviewing wonderful people like Raleigh about her career path virtually. So very excited to have Raleigh and we're going to kind of talk through her career path. Couple questions. I'm going to start you with some warm-ups. Give us your stats. Hometown, college, undergrad, major, and your favorite follow on Twitter.
Ooh, okay. Hometown is Nashville, Tennessee, Country Music USA. College is the University of Virginia. I was a history major because why not? When you're surrounded by Thomas Jefferson. And my favorite follow on Twitter. I mean, other than you and Jeff and Sam, honestly, this is going to sound super basic. Chrissy Teigen. She is hilarious. She is the Maris of Twitter. She uses the platform very well. And I appreciate you use Twitter, having worked there.
There you go. That's why I asked that question. It's customized for you, Raleigh.
Well done.
All right. So warm-ups, once again, quick hitting questions. Want to make sure that the students get a good understanding of who you are and also can maybe judge you based upon your answers to these questions.
Perfect.
So you live in Charlotte. You've been here for about 15, 18 months or so.
Yep.
Big city or small town?
I don't want to offend anyone, but
No
having
offensive.
lived in New York and San Francisco feels a little small town.
Okay.
But I think everywhere can be a small town because
there you go.
Go to your places, and that's what you do.
Way to pull yourself out of that. All right. Yep. You're from Nashville. Country music or not?
Oh, country music for sure. I was very confused when I got to New York and there was no live music. I just didn't understand that.
So who do you listen to country music now?
Anything that's on the Hot 100 or Hot 50 on Spotify, but Luke Bryan's a favorite. Jason Isbell, huge favorite. Maren Morris, little soul.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. I know them. I don't know any songs, but I know them. Most iconic female athlete of all time.
Most iconic female athlete?
Yes.
I'm a little biased because the company I work for represents her, but Megan Rapinoe.
Okay. She's definitely the most iconic female of right now, for sure.
True story. If not her, it's got to be Serena Williams.
Okay, nice. I agree with that. Bojangles or Chick-fil-A?
Depends on the order. More frequently with Chick-fil-A, but definitely the Cajun chicken biscuit from Bojangles. So it's got to be Bojangles.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
All right. You're a UVA grad, as you alluded to. Bigger emotional response, UVA losing in Charlotte to the UMBC team as a 1 seed versus 16, or them winning the national championship the following year. Which had you more excited or more down? What was the strength of the emotion?
You me up for this one before, so at least I've had some time to think about it.
Yeah.
But I would say the more emotional response was coming off of the loss and winning and being lucky enough to be in Minneapolis and being there with my mom, who went to NC State and has been to 2 national championships. She was so excited, and seeing the look on her face, of course, the surprise that we won on my face, it was probably the coolest memory that I will ever have. And I'm excited that we got to do it.
It is like a really awesome kind of case study for why sports are so awesome, that you have this horrible loss followed up by this amazing success. So I would agree with you. It's a really awesome story.
Yeah. And our coach, Tony Bennett, is the best thing to happen to that school other than our AD and a lot of other folks who made it thrive.
This isn't the Tony Bennett UVA podcast. Okay, don't try to talk about him right now.
I know. I just want to let the kids know, Go Who's.
All right, so what is a who? Actually, that's a new question for you. What is a who?
What is a who? So it's just what we say at the end of a cheer, and then they turned it into all the who's in Whoville. There was, at some point, a Dr. Seuss myth reference that he lived there on a hill, and we were all the who's in Whoville, but that's fake.
Not fake. Real. Good to know. There you go. Well, we learned a lot about you there in a short period of time. Thank you very much. All right, first quarter. We're in 4 quarters. The first quarter is kind of about the early years of Raleigh. So, was there a specific, like, what was your entry point into this sports world, and how did that take place?
Yeah, I would say it was twofold of how I really started to like sports. One, I played them. I ran track, played soccer, and was the basketball manager because
Oh, nice.
hand-eye coordination, not so much, not that good.
What
But
coordination, strong, hand-eye coordination, not so much.
Exactly. And then every family event we had circled around sports, whether we were getting together for the ACC tournament because everybody went to one of the schools, Carolina, Duke, Virginia, etc., NC State, which is what I'm named after. So it was either I was playing sports or I was watching sports with people that mattered to me. And I learned so much doing both. And there was always excitement with the family or disappointment when they lost, or same on the if you were playing side, right? So
Yeah.
I learned so much from my coaches and actually being involved on the field that's when I really got excited about sports because it seemed like something fun, but also that I got to learn from.
Is there like a single most memorable experience when you were young related to sports?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I still see my soccer coach when I'm back in Nashville, and he is probably headed for 70, and I should call him by his first name, but I still call him coach. So I don't know if there's a single memory when I was super young, but as I got older, little lessons that my coach would teach me that was even more than what I was learning in the classroom. Things just like if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail, or those sorts of things that you learn on the field, those stay with me now in work. And I'm not playing soccer because let's be honest, I'm kind of old. It's not a good look.
You're not kind of old. You're old, kind of old relative to our students, for sure.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
I can't hold up and hustle. My dog outruns me.
All right. Great job in the first quarter.
Thank you.
Take a break. Second quarter is kind of growing up. All right. So you've got this great experience playing sports. You've been around your whole life. You're now going to college and or kind of figuring out what's the next step from playing it, being around it, to like what I want to do with my life. You majored in history, but they kind of talk through that transition from high school to college. What did you think you wanted to do when you were the same age as these students that we're talking to today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to play soccer in college. That was my thing. And I wanted to get a job at ESPN. I had all of these goals. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I know that you guys probably put together like a time capsule at some point. And my time capsule in 8th grade said I wanted to work at ESPN. So I was hell-bent on making that happen. But I knew I had to, get into a good school and work really hard and make sure to keep up my grades, but also learn a lot. So I got to UVA, but honestly, I was waitlisted. I applied early decision and they said, maybe not, we're gonna wait. And I didn't get in until like the middle of the summer. So I was headed for another school. So as soon as I got it and knew that that's what I wanted to do, I changed it up, went to UVA. Unfortunately, I got injured, so I didn't get to play, but I pivoted that into working in the sports information department, which is basically the place where they help all of the athletes with public relations or running stats at games, making sure to staff the weight room, stuff like that, just so you can be around it if you're not playing. So basically, I knew I wanted to be involved in sports in some way, but when I got hurt or when I was waitlisted for UVA, I had to find another opportunity to make it happen, which was a good learning experience, right? Nothing comes easy.
Yeah, and I love what you're talking about too. Like you also didn't major in sports management, yet you were still finding a way to be around it.
Yeah,
right? Like I think we talk to students a lot about like you don't have to major in this one thing to do that thing.
No,
unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. It's pretty much the only two things where you're like, that's exactly what you're studying, that's what you go do. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of this general knowledge. You can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, and you meet other people by working in other stuff. I learned how to write really well being a history major because you're writing a ton of papers and trying to take a whole bunch of information and put it into one little bit. And that helped me a lot for press releases or working for the school paper on the sports side. So at least I was taking it and using it as something else. And the classroom, super important, obviously, but I learned as much outside of the classroom as I did inside the classroom.
Love that. Second quarter down, halftime.
Perfect.
Third quarter is all about going pro.
Wait, we totally missed halftime. Who was the entertainment?
Me
It was
mumbling.
you?
That's me
Perfect.
mumbling.
Great.
Thinking about that.
You
Hey,
and
don't
Joe.
ask me questions. I ask you questions. Don't do that. I'm not prepared to answer them. All right. So back to you answering questions. You're growing up, right? So college to career, tough transition. That's one of the things we try to talk about in this series is like transitions from high school to college, college to career. What was the biggest adjustment coming from college to working?
What was the biggest adjustment? I mean, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, which I at the time thought was a small town. I then went to UVA, which was a public school, but it's a pretty smallish public school. You know, it's only 13,000 students. It's not like Michigan or Texas with huge populations. So going from Charlottesville, Virginia to Manhattan was kind of like the biggest eye-opening thing. I can remember my ESPN internship, walking into Times Square, and Life is a Highway was on in my very fancy iPod at the time.
The Cards version or the Tom Cochran version?
The Rascal Flatts version. Thank you for asking. Going back to
third
the
option.
history.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I remember like cresting the stairs and looking around and just going, what have I done? I'm a small town girl in a big city. And I think that was the biggest transition because you're not only trying to learn how to be a real person and manage money and live in a big city or live in an apartment or have a roommate that's not your college roommate. You're trying to learn how to do work and do life at the same time. And that can feel really scary. So just having people who are my mentors to talk to or sticking close to some college friends as I met other people was really helpful. And I didn't get my job at ESPN out of the gate. Most of my friends were getting jobs in banking or whatever by December of the year we were graduating. And I got my job 2 weeks before we graduated. But I also had already gotten a letter that said, we don't need you here. So I worked really hard to make sure to get there. But yeah, weird transition.
Yeah. So you got into ESPN, which was your goal.
Yep.
Right. And then you went from ESPN, and I'm not going to get all this right because you've had a very impressive career, but general arc, ESPN, you also worked at Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You also worked at the Players Tribune.
Yep.
And now you currently work with this thing called an agency, which is called Wasserman. Wasserman as an agency. Talk a little bit in general terms about what you do today
Sure.
and what's going on in your world.
Yeah, I always think about where I want to be work-wise, working in media or tech and sports. And if you've got those three bubbles, they intersect, and you're kind of like, at least one of them will be where I always am. And sports has kind of been where I've always been, and stuff is kind of fluid. So the Wasserman side, Wasserman's a talent agency, just like anyone where you see the crazy baller show or agents. That's the people that I work with. Now, they're not all crazy characters, but what I do for them, I'm not an agent. I help them use social media for their athletes because it's hard. Sometimes people don't know what TikTok is, right? So I get to explain it. And I help them figure out how to use that for them and their teams and their leagues and brands that they work with, like Nike and stuff like that.
It's a very cool job.
It's weird, but it's cool.
This isn't the forum, but I need you to teach me about TikTok.
Anytime. It's my favorite platform right now.
So what was like that one, like, oh my gosh, like kind of childlike moment for an adult that's happened in your career where you're like, I can't believe that I get to do this?
Ooh, I've been lucky enough recently to have a lot of those because when you work at a talent agency, you get exposure to these people that everyone wants to be around, right? But you're literally with them to help them through their day and their career. And I think I've got 3, but I'll focus on one. In my first week at the Players Tribune, my boss is a guy, or was a guy, named Derek Jeter. He played for the Yankees for a while, and he had just come on to work for the Marlins and be the president of the Marlins baseball team. And they wanted to find a way to really pump up the start of the season. So I got called down to go to dinner with him and his wife and talk about what they should do and advise him on what they should do to start the season. And my grandfather was a huge Yankees fan. So I'm just sort of sitting there floating above myself being like, wait, I'm at dinner with Derek Jeter. People are taking pictures of him. They want to sit at this table and they're probably like, who is this chick? So that was a pretty cool moment and totally out of the norm, but really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up too. Like, that's why I asked the question. Like, our industry is really challenging, right? There's a lot that goes into it, but also like there's some amazing moments and some dinner meetings that you have no business being at that you get to be at.
Oh yeah. And that's the coolest part. Those are the things that when, 99% of the time you're up at midnight working really hard or you're in a hotel room and you're not with your family, those are the things that keep you going because that can sustain you for a whole nother year of this is why I do this. This is super exciting. So
thank you very much. Fourth quarter.
Ooh, let's go.
Called Monday Morning Quarterback.
Let's go. Put up your fourth quarter fingers. Here we go.
Four. So knowing what you know now, what do you wish you would have known when you were in high school about a potential career in sports?
What do I wish I'd known? I think I wish I'd known that it doesn't have to be traditional route, right? I worked at ESPN, figured out that I'd achieved my goal and was lucky enough to have done that, and decided to go to business school because it was going to make me smarter and I needed to learn some more and I knew where my weaknesses were. And then as I got to other places, I took a totally non-traditional route. I mean, Twitter, you wouldn't think of as being involved in sports when you just think of it. It's just like this platform, it's an app. Yeah. Well, I made it, an area that I could work in sports, which got me into Players Tribune and kept me more traditional. So thinking outside the box on stuff, if you can't be the athlete on the field like I wanted to be, is great because then you have to work really hard to find the areas that still make you happy. So yeah, I wish I'd known that there were other opportunities, and the real way to learn about that is talking to people, like getting to know you guys and staying up with your friends who are also interested in the same thing. That just makes you smarter. So knowing you can go a non-traditional route, talking to people about how to do it, and really, keeping in that really just gets you where you want to go.
Yeah, there's no right way or wrong way. It's not like a straight path. But I think that's important. That's why we have to have people like you tell our students that, because they don't know that, right? No one's sitting down and telling them that. And a lot of the progression as a high school student is you take this class, you get to this class, you get to this class, right? The same thing in college. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. I think if you do well in what you're good at, just anything, or, when you're in an industry, you're supposed to do your job. But look outside of what your job is and do the better there. So when you go to college or you're in your classes, do that well because that's what you're there to do. Mm-hmm. But then after that, what can you tack on that makes you really happy that you learn even more from?
Yeah, that's a great point. One thing I want to kind of focus on there was, and someone gave me this advice: find what you like doing and you're good at.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes if you're going to go do a job and you're not good at that job, you're not going to like it. So when you don't really know what you want to do, try to find two opportunities where you like it and you're good at it, and that can kind of take off from there. And then you're going to have success, and then all of a sudden you want to learn more, and then it's off and running.
That's why when I run a company, my CFO is going to be my favorite employee because I'm not good at math. They're going to be the one doing it. I don't like it. Not good at it. Don't like it. Enter CFO.
All right, kids, that doesn't mean you can delegate your math work to your classmates.
True. For the record. Don't do that. Learn from them.
Learn from them. All right, last question. We're in overtime.
Okay.
Hail Mary advice. This is your last chance to talk to these students and give them some advice about life, about a potential career. Hit them with it.
So this is borrowed from my old boss, who used to be the CFO of the NFL and is now the CEO of SoFi. And will go on to do, I'm sure, other amazing things. But he always says, make your footprint bigger than your foot. And what that means is obviously your foot is one size. That is what you're supposed to do, but make your footprint expand. How can you add to everything that you're doing? We kind of just talked about that, but the two kind of other parts of that is just work hard and be nice. Those are the two things that I think about how I can make my footprint bigger than my foot. I do more by working hard, and I'm just trying to be a nice person because otherwise you really don't. No one wants to work with you. So work hard, be nice, make your footprint bigger than your foot.
Raleigh, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
So I don't know.
Job well done. Same time tomorrow.
You were in overtime.
That was overtime.
Yeah, but did we win? I don't know.
We all win.
It's not about winning. We all
gain knowledge. We're all winners. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it for being on the Sports Biz Camps Speaker Series.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Go get them, guys.